Hello, and welcome to Real Talk, Real People, Real Conversation. This is where people come together to be enlightened, informed, and encouraged, where we come and change the mental, emotional, and spiritual level to help increase our consciousness so we can become better and do better for self and for humanity. So today we have a young lady, and her name is Robin Powell, and our topic is the science and the wisdom behind astrology. And so before I bring on my girl Robin, who I just love and adore all the time because I'm always asking her for wisdom when it comes to astrology, especially during the full moon. So, Robin Powell has been a student of astrology since she was 11 years old. Her mentor was Garland J, and her master astrology was Jertha Love, who was featured in Ebony magazine and on TV in 1970. She is a ferocious reader and read on a college level in the third grade. So from 11 to 18, she read probably every astrology book known at the time. She featured in teaching at venues all over the world. She's been on BET. She's been on Love Talk shows with Jam Astrology, Cosmo Astrologist on Facebook. Again, she's been all over the world. So today we have uh, Robin Paul, and I'm going to bring her in right now so we can have a deep conversation and learn more about the wisdom and the science behind astrology. So welcome, Robin. How you
Thank
doing?
you. I'm good. Thank you for that. That was
Oh,
sweet.
you're
Yeah.
welcome, darling.
I,
And
I, I love you as well. You know I do. You know I do.
I know you do. And that's Robin's actual name is Soul Artist Robin. So we're gonna call
Well,
you
my
by
actual
Soul.
name is Robin,
Yeah,
but yeah,
okay, well,
I go by
out in the
Soul Artist.
world, yes, out in
Mhm.
the world they call you Soul Artist. So
Yeah,
thank you for joining us today with your wisdom and knowledge on astrology.
I appreciate. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So, I have some questions for you. So,
I'm ready. Let's go.
we're not gonna keep the audience waiting. So, let's
That's
really
it.
dive in and let's get some questions, okay? Answer.
Okay, great.
So, what inspired you to start studying astrology at such a young age, and how did your journey evolve over time?
Okay, so when I first started, I was 11 actually. And what happened was a new family moved up the street from me in Detroit,
Mhm.
four houses up, and the gentleman's name was Garland Jaggers. He was a master astrologist, and I was best friends with his daughter, one of his daughters. He had two daughters, and
Okay.
has two daughters. He's still here. He's in his 90s, I think now.
Ooh,
He's still,
wow.
yeah. But he was the uh, secretariat of the Catholic Archdiocese, actually.
Mm.
And so he taught astrology at his house. So we
Okay.
had a little astrology group, and he was teaching us astrology, and I just took to it, and I was so interested in it, and because I read, um, that's how I did. I just started reading, and I was a voracious reader, like you said. I read everything. So
Wow.
that's basically, yeah. And he kind of got on my nerves. I have to say this because he knew I could read like that, and they used to tease me because I won the spelling bee like 3 years in a row and all this other kind of stuff. So everybody just used to look at me and say, okay, she can do this. She doesn't need it. So he gave me a book. It's like this thick, like 300
Mhm.
pages. And he said, when you finish this book, come back and talk to
Wow.
me about astrology. And I'm like, but you know it. Why don't you just tell me? And he's like, you need to know it. So he gave me the book,
Abs-
and he gave me my chart and sent me home. And I read that book in like a couple of days, and I came back. He gave me another
wow.
book. Like,
So wait a minute. So you were reading a college level at the third grade?
yeah, my dad taught us how to read when I was like 4 or 5, because my dad was actually teaching special ed at the time. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like your dad had some techniques that he definitely applied to you,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help you to advance at that level. So
Yeah.
so now go back. So the gentleman So you was very intrigued and twisted of learning so much. So how did you meet your mentor? He was a neighbor or somebody in the community again? I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't
he
catch
was.
that
He
one.
was like I said. They actually moved. So there was another family used to live there, and in Detroit in the 60s and 70s, it was all African American families, and we actually integrated a Jewish neighborhood, and so and they moved out because they didn't want to be around us, whatever. That's fine. But in the meantime, these were middle class and upper middle class families who, you know, like my grandfather was the county prosecutor, so they weren't just the regular folks around there, that kind of thing. So,
So 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 was he African American too?
absolutely, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, all right.
yeah.
Sorry, just to get
Everybody in my
clarity.
neighborhood was. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying. That's how it
okay.
was. So,
So as the Jewish people was moving out, the African Americans was moving in. You're saying?
yes, yes,
Okay, got it. Just
yeah.
to make
We
sure I
moved
can
in, and
understand
they
it.
was
Okay.
going, and that's fine. They could go, whatever. But anyway, God bless them. So he moved up the street. I used to hang out with his daughter, and then he said, "Hey, I'm having an astrology class. You want to come?" And I came, and I just took to it.
Oh,
I really feel like it was meant to be.
okay. And in that astrology class, were you the youngest out of everybody?
Probably. I want to say maybe his younger daughter, like she's like a year younger than me. Maybe she was there, but I don't know. And she's actually really brilliant. She ended up going to Harvard Medical School. She's a really smart woman.
Wow.
Yeah, and
And
becoming a
so
physician. Huh?
but everybody else were adults.
Yeah, they were adults. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry,
All
I
right.
got my guy in the background.
It's okay. It's okay. You
He
know, he
wants to
always
be on. He wants to be on too.
exactly. So once he gave you that big book, you said
Yeah.
it didn't take you no time at all to read that
No.
book. And
No.
then once you
And,
came back,
and comprehended. That's the thing.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you understood a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I think that question that I asked you was a two question. So the other one, okay, and so the journey. So how did that journey evolve over time for you?
So most of the time when I was younger, I was just reading a lot,
Hmm.
and studying. What he used to say is to study my own chart. So I would study my own chart, and then I started when I was like, I want to say 15 or 16. My grandparents asked me to do their charts, which is like totally like my grandfather I was just talking to you about, and my grandmother, who they were like, "Can you do our charts?" And I'm like, "Are they serious?" So they encouraged me. You know what I'm saying? So this is really good.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, so help me out this here. So I know a lot of people use their chart. Can you hear me good?
yeah,
Or
I
the
can hear
dog?
you fine.
Okay, so a lot of people use the astrology chart, to be able to navigate through life
Oh
and
yeah.
try to avoid the unnecessary paths for us to be able to be our true self and to live our true purpose. So for you, and I don't know how true that is, you'll let me know, but for you to learn your chart at such a young age, how did that help you to now? I mean, yeah, can you elaborate a little bit more of that journey of creating your chart to where you at right now in life?
It helped me to understand. Well, I understand a lot of things. For instance, recently Mars, the planet of war and conflict and all that stuff, went retrograde. And I know everybody knows about Mercury retrograde, but a couple days ago, like Friday or Saturday, I believe it was, Mars went retrograde. I got in an argument with somebody. Two of my coworkers got in arguments with people, and they were like, "What the heck is going on?" And I'm like, "Mars is retrograde, y'all." So that's what it is, and it's retrograde in Leo, which is also so very, like bravado, and Leos are very proud and very, so they want to have their way about it. So it's like everybody is coming up saying, that kind of thing. So go on, go on.
So now, based on what you just said a few minutes ago, I have a question for you now. So
Yeah.
because you notice a lot of your coworkers were getting in a little bit of confrontation because of
It wasn't a little
Mars.
bit. It's supposed to have a
I
problem.
was I was being nice
I
because
know
of
you
Mars. Because of Mars being retrograded. Is that
retrograde, yeah.
all? Is that
Until
that
until February 24th, I think. Go on.
okay, thank you for sharing. But is that for all zodiac signs or only certain zodiac signs who might have that issue?
So I'm
Who
gonna
might,
say because of when it went retrograde. You know what? I'm gonna have to put him. Can you give me a second? Sure, you can wait. Okay, yeah. Give me 1 second. You can actually, yeah. I was gonna say to take me off. Okay. All right. Okay.
okay, see me now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we're back on. Okay, got it. Okay, all right. So dogs, okay, they all
Oh,
situated now. Okay,
we'll
got
find
it.
out
Okay.
in a minute.
Okay, so back to our question. So, I mean, well, I want to say one thing. So, for those who are still learning, because this could be for beginners who's trying to understand astrology,
Right.
can you explain when you mention about Mars right now is in retrograde, and some of
Okay.
us might don't understand that part?
Okay, so Mars is the planet, like I said, it's the planet of war and conflict and fighting and surgery and armies and all that kind of thing. So when it goes retrograde, it's usually something you need to go back over relating to that. So I'm thinking that's why people are having arguments, especially when it's in Leo, because Leo is a very proud sign. You know, they think they know everything. They're the sun. The sun is shining on me. You know, I am the sun. So it's difficult for them to be humble. Not impossible. Some of them are humble, but you know they do shine. So you know, so now you got everybody wanting to shine somewhere. It's like you
Okay.
don't get along. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
so now by what you just said, you had me thinking. So is that something when we go back to retrograde to something from the past, is that
Mhm.
almost kind of like to unfinish something that hasn't been resolved?
Yeah, to finish right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So that took place when? When did Mars retrograde started?
I want to say it was Friday or Saturday.
Okay, so just this Friday just passed.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay, and you said
Yeah.
that's going to last until February the 24th.
Yeah, unfortunately, y'all.
Okay.
And
Okay.
let me say this too, because Mercury is also retrograde, which you know rules communication. So
Okay.
they like retrograde together. That, fortunately for us, is going to end on Monday. So the 15th.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All
I
right. And
think
so
it's a
with the
Monday.
Mercury, retrograding, that is communicating, talking, or having a conversation that should have happened, but have not happened. So it gives us an opportunity to go resolve some issues that we might need to address.
But we may not want to do that right now.
Of course not. Of course not. Okay. You know, I'm loving this astrology. I mean, there's so much to learn about it, and I know we can't touch even the surface of it in this
And
conversation. But
that's
anyway,
that's very true because I literally I studied for all those years and I still feel like I only scratched the surface. Now there's things that I understand about it
hmm
that are deeper than other people don't understand. Like if you tell me something, I can calculate something in the sky, that kind of thing
hmm
right now standing with
okay,
people and that kind of thing. And but there's so many levels of astrology. There's different horary astrology, medical astrology. There's Vedic astrology, which is Hindu
hmm
astrology.
hmm
There's all these different. There's different types of relationship astrology. So many different areas. And then in
wow,
relationship astrology, there's 3 or 4 different ways people calculate charts. So if you really, to me, you kind of have to be a student of it. Uh,
hmm
and that's why I get frustrated sometimes when I see people they look at the little chart that's on the news, used to be on the newspaper and that
uh
kind of
huh,
thing. And
uh
I'm
huh,
like, that ain't it, y'all. You know, because usually, let me just tell you this. So that they call them the big three: your sun, moon, rising.
hmm
You're reading those things in a newspaper or hearing it on the online or something like that, and they're talking about, oh, this is going to happen in Cancer this week. They're talking about Cancer rising, not people with Cancer suns.
Wow, that's a big
Because
difference.
what they're doing is they're depicting what's going on in the houses of your chart, and that's based on
hmm
your rising. So that's a whole
mm
other story.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is that there's a a huge platform of astrology, and we only getting just a little glimpse when we're
We really are.
talking.
We
Okay,
really
got it. Okay, so
Mhm.
now let's go back because I asked you a question about you
Okay.
were being in your teens and you were taught how to do your own chart. And so because you a teen and now you are a grown adult, how did you how did your chart help you to navigate yourself to where you at now?
Well, so there's time frames. There's like the Saturn. People talk about your Saturn return. It happens when you're 28 and 29 and 30, and that's when they say you're really an adult, and it really is a time period like that. And it happens again when you're 58, 59, and 60. So if you didn't work it out the first time, you get another chance. So there's
Mm-hmm.
different time frames based on the planets moving. So okay, so your chart is like a picture that's in the sky. It's there. It's you. Okay. I could, if I drew your chart on you, it's still there. It hasn't moved, but the planets kept moving. So every time they're moving in your chart, and so it's triggering different things. So that's why they say like 7-year cycles. You see 7-year cycles, you see 14-year cycles, all that type of thing. The 28-year, 28-year cycles. These are real things that actually happen to people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
with that being said, so there's really because you just mentioned our chart is in the sky, but because of the planets and the moon and everything, and Mercury and Jupiter, all that, because the planets move around,
They
it
keep
can
moving.
shift. It can shift where we actually at in our chart
Mm,
based on decisions that we make and opportunities that we take.
no. So your chart, I'm gonna give you a better analogy.
Okay.
Say you are standing in the middle of your chart,
Mm-hmm.
and your chart is here. It's all, you got the 12 houses, you
Mm-hmm.
got 12 signs, okay? You got 10 planets, one of which is the sun, which is not really a planet. But anyway, we won't get into all that right now. Um, and so you're standing here with your chart. This is it. But say the planets are in the sky, they're still moving. So like I know somebody just had a solar return recently, which means it was your birthday. Okay, that's what we call it. So the sun came back to, and it's 360 degrees in the zodiac. I don't know if you ever hear Erica Badu. She said I was born under $3. I think she said in 6 dimes. She's
Mm-hmm.
talking about astrology. She's talking
Mm.
about that she's a Pisces.
Okay.
That's what she's telling y'all. And then she said, but y'all can't figure it out because you can't do the math because you
Got
don't
it.
understand it. Okay, but so the planets keep moving. So the sun was at, say the sun was at 10 degrees of Sagittarius
Mm-hmm.
on the 10th, but that's
The
not
tenth.
really how it works.
Correct.
Actually, hold on one second. I'm going to tell you right where the sun was. Give me one second because I brought
Mm-hmm.
it. Okay, the sun is at, right now it's at 20 degrees of Sagittarius.
Okay.
Let's say yesterday it was at 19 degrees Sagittarius, and that was somebody's birthday. So
Mm-hmm.
now, when it comes next year, when it comes back to 19 degrees Sagittarius, it makes another chart for that person, a new chart of their new year. That's why the energy changes, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
because the sun is there, but all the other planets are moving at different speeds.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so the sun is somewhere, but the moon might not be the same place. The sun is at the exact same 19 degrees, but the
Mm-hmm.
moon is not at 19. The moon is not where it was when you were born. The Mercury is not where it was when you were born.
Correct.
Even the
Correct.
rising, yeah. So
Okay. So I don't think you probably understood my question. So
okay, okay,
so
let's
my
go.
question is okay, so I hear people talk about their chart, and you explain to me now that astrology is huge. Okay. So
Mm-hmm,
just because you have a chart, you got my date of birth, and you know when I was born or whatever,
mm-hmm.
by you working on your chart, how did that help you to make the right decisions? Because I was told that your chart helped you to avoid certain roles to take to help you have a better life if you know your chart,
Yeah,
right?
so so if I looked at it, which I did the other day, I probably wouldn't have got in that argument. uh,
But
but
no,
I,
but I'm saying for you at a young age, studying your chart, developing your chart for you, how did that work for you to where you at now as an adult is what I'm saying.
I mean, it helped me to understand myself better, you
Can
know,
you
and
Can you
understand.
share? Can you
Yeah,
share that part?
I mean, so for instance, I have a Capricorn stellium. Capricorns are very serious. And so I can tend to be very, very serious and very studious and very meticulous, because of the part of Capricorn that my stellium is in. So, and that's another thing too. So I already knew. I mean, I saw it was already who I was, so I already understood it. You know what I'm saying?
So,
So
so did that make life easier for you because you
I
understood
would
your
say no.
chart?
I would
No?
say no. I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you why. Because there's things I believe, even though you have in a chart, like when you're born in India, they do your chart. Okay. Now they might be able to see, like for instance, Kamala was gonna be vice president. I'm sure her mother was able to see that. Okay, because they read your chart when you're born. But how you going to get there and all that kind of stuff, they may not be able to. Some people can see that, but they may not be able to see it. So they might say, you're going to be you're going to be a healer, but they might not see how you're going to be a healer. You see what I'm saying?
Got it.
Yeah, it's the energy,
Okay.
the
Got
energy.
it.
Yeah, the
So
energy.
okay, so your chart can help and navigate how no, not so much how your chart going to tell you what your life path can be, but it's up to you,
Absolutely.
the energy, and it's up to the individuals who you meet to get you to that destination. Is what you're saying?
And you can change your mind because you have free will. I do believe in free will. You can change
Yes.
your mind tomorrow, you know.
Okay. 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 So now, let's just say you knew from teenage to maybe 30 years. Okay, you give yourself a 10-year that you know, okay, from this point to this point you're gonna be, whatever you wanted to be, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So, and then let's say you decided that no, I don't want to be, like for instance, you were an officer before, right? You
Yeah.
worked. Okay.
What
So
at one of my 7-year cycles too.
okay, and so
Okay.
did you know that you was going to be a police officer?
It's I'll just say in my chart, it's one of the possibilities.
Okay, and you could have denied that and went another direction, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, when
I like to call
somebody,
myself a peace officer. That's
okay,
what I was supposed to do. Not police, peace
okay,
officer.
so a peace officer. Okay, so let's just so now let's say that your chart, somebody give you a chart and somebody say this is what you're going to be. Now, like you said, it depends on your energy and it depends on it's up to you how you get there. But then
Hmm.
you said that you can also, because of free will, you can change it. So when you decide to change it, is that when you go back and get another chart done?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything. So for instance, people been telling me my whole life, you're gonna be an astrologist. You're gonna be an astrologist. In my chart, there's nothing that says I'm gonna be an astrologist. Nothing. It says I could be a spiritual healer. I could be work with kids. I could work with art, and I've done all that stuff too.
But I
But
mean, but you are an astrologist, aren't you?
let me
Oh,
finish.
okay. Go ahead.
There's things called fixed stars, which there's another area of astrology. It's called fixed stars. A lot of people that are famous, so forth, they have certain fixed stars in certain areas. And my mentor's mentor, he was very big on fixed stars. So I
Hmm.
often, when I'm looking at somebody's chart, I look at their regular chart, I look at their Vedic chart, and I look at their fixed stars, I look at their transits. There's a lot of things involved with,
Hmm.
so um, my fixed star okay, so there's a Neptune rules my 10th house, which is your career.
Correct.
Okay.
Hmm.
My fixed star is conjunct that ruler, that Neptune, and the fixed
Hmm.
star that is conjuncted rules astrology.
Okay. Now,
So,
now, okay. So I
so
know that's
that's
a lot. That's a lot for
it
those
is
who
a
don't
lot.
understand
I
about
know
the
it is.
houses, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but the houses always change every month depending on the moon,
Not
correct?
every month. The
So no,
houses
so
change. The houses change for a person every 2 hours. For a human being, that's why you have different rising signs. So I was born at 4 in the afternoon. Somebody born at 6 in the afternoon has Leo rising. Somebody born at 8 in the afternoon has Virgo rising. Some in the evening, 10 as you go on. So it's based on like that. So depending on what time you were born, that's how you get the rising. That's how you get your houses.
So does the house?
So somebody, I'm born at 4 in the evening. Somebody that's born in 4 in the morning is going to have Capricorn rising, which is opposite of mine. Okay.
But doesn't the houses change based on the first house, the second house, the third house, all the way up to the 12th house? Or does that house stay with you?
It changes. Your house, your original chart that you have is based on the time you're born. That's why sometimes if people say they don't have their chart, I don't know what time I was born. I'm like, can you at least get me within 15 minutes, something like that? It's easier for me to work with it. They do charts unknown. And you can do it, but it's easier if you have the information about what time somebody was born.
Okay, so I guess maybe but we won't spend a lot of time on the house part, because I just thought the houses changed based according to the different time frame of the moon. Not so much. It sounds like to me
it changes every 2 hours every day.
So your house is constantly changes.
Yours don't. Yours is there's a picture of you in the heaven when you were born. It's a picture of you. You're standing in the middle of it. It's not moving. It's not moving. It's standing there. Everything else is moving.
Okay, all right, okay. We'll come back to that one, because sometimes I find myself
when I teach in person, I have you stand there, and then you that's how you come to understand it when I teach in person.
Okay, all right, okay. We'll talk about your classes. Okay, all right. So now, when you said you did your chart for your grandparents, can you explain a little bit about what did you develop in that chart for your grandparents?
I mean, so back then too, you used to do everything by hand. There was no computer. There was no cafe astrology, nothing like that. Yeah, there was none of that.
Wow. So, yeah. It's definitely different compared to now. Now,
and that's why some of those guys used to charge like $500, $1,000 because now they had to both do your chart and read it, and it's taking them like probably when you were calculating that stuff by hand, it could take a couple days. Really? Yeah. So that's why they got to be where astrologists charge so much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And that's some really teaching when you're doing it by hand, because
who you telling? Listen. I didn't really like doing that. Really, with the computer thing, I'm like, yes. Who came up with this?
Yes. The only reason why I say that, because you make me think back in the 90s, I was doing accounting, and so accounting, we had computers, but it was a dinosaur, so we had to get the ledger out. Everything was written by hand, doing the numbers and everything. So, but it made you understand the concept of that skill so much deeper. Now computers, you just plug something in, and it populates for yourself. It's no fun no more.
And I actually had a good friend of mine recently called and said that their teenager was doing charts, and I'm like, doing charts? I'm like, okay, what are they doing? So basically, they're pulling up your chart and going to Cafe Astrology and reading it off there. And I said, yeah, but that's not really. If you've been studying, I would say to anybody that really wants to learn astrology, study a book and study for a year. And study your chart, and then begin to study your family members' charts. Going on Cafe Astrology, I mean, the person could do that by themselves. Honestly, they don't need you to do it. You know what I'm saying?
That is true. So now
but having you're not really learning anything like that to me.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah. It's like it's always beautiful when you have different components and you trying to put it together. That's where you actually really doing the teaching.
Exactly.
Just going on. So question for you. So now that you're an influencer who taught you at such a young age of astrology, how long were you with them for you to be able to walk away and be able just to do it on yourself naturally? Like, did you keep
from Garland and those guys? Well, let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you. Let me tell you this. This is a great story too. Okay, Garland. I grew up with Garland. He was up the street, so any time I had a question, I could run up the street and ask him, "Hey, Garland, I found this. What is this?" And he'd be
Okay.
like, "Here's another book." That was his thing. Here's another book. I'm like, "Bruh." Anyway, when I got to Washington D.C., I was 19, I think.
Okay.
Went to Washington D.C. I went to Howard, and when
Mm-hmm.
I got to Howard, I was going to classes and stuff like that. And then one day, somebody invited me to a place called the National Spiritual Science Center.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, I met some people, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to this church on Columbia Road." And anybody that knows DC is like, "Okay, it's called All Souls Church."
Okay.
They took me to All Souls Church, and I didn't know Jertha at that point.
Okay.
And there he was, his black man with beard. His wife looked like, I don't know if you ever seen Yogananda. She looked like Yogananda in a
Mm-hmm.
female form.
Mm.
And they were, up on the pulpit, beautiful black people. And they were like, "Hey, guess what? The fixed stars, blah, blah, blah." He's like teaching. And I'm like, "Oh, this is my stuff." I'm like, "Who is this guy?" So I literally did not know
Uh-huh.
that he was my mentor. And I called Garland and I said, "Garland, there's a guy, he's teaching in the church, he's talking about astrology." And he said, "And his name is Jertha Love."
Uh-huh.
He said that to me. He finished
Uh-huh.
my sentence. And I said, "How do you know?" He said, "That's who taught me astrology." He said, "So that's who taught you astrology." He said, "Go tell him who you are."
Mm-hmm.
So when I told him, he just like embraced me. I used to go over their house and have dinner. We used to talk about astrology. It was just like, it was just unreal. So they're all on the other side now, but
Okay.
it was like a miracle. Like, who are these people? And he used to teach on, I think it was Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
He would be up in there and it would be packed, and everybody be learning about astrology, more stuff, because he was into the fixed stars. He used to love to talk about the fixed stars. Love it, love it.
Mm. Okay.
And I would say who studies the fixed stars? Burmese astrology, I think, is based on fixed stars, and also I have to look that up. I don't want
Okay.
to say sure, but
Okay.
that might
Okay.
be
Well, I mean, this is the first time I actually heard the word fixed stars. I heard
mm-hmm,
everything else in astrology, but not fixed stars. So that's something
mm-hmm.
different that we'll talk
It's a
about.
whole new, yeah, it's a
So
really a new ball game.
okay. So now that you're at a new church, you're among a different congregation that
Yes,
everybody's talking the language that you've been talking since
yes,
you were
yes,
11 years old. So
yeah,
how
yeah,
did
yeah.
that shape your life from that point on to move forward?
I just loved it. From there, I got offers to teach, and offers to, so I started teaching. I'm teaching bookstores, at people's houses, all different kind of places. They would
So
send me out because already knew the stuff. They would be like, "Can you teach here? Can you teach there?" And I'll be like, "Absolutely."
so
So I
so when you
started.
so so when you say teach, can you elaborate a little bit more of how deep do you go in teaching in astrology
Um,
so people can understand?
Yeah, I mean, I can teach a basic, in a night, or we can go like, 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, more, whatever people want to know. Uh, I have set up a course I'm going to be doing with my brother. I told you on ChepriiTV.com. I'm going to be doing a 12-week intro, because I feel like the intro, everybody should have it. That's what I
Correct.
think. I
Okay,
don't want
but
to charge you for that, but after that, if you're still interested, and I say if you're still interested, then I'm going to take time and we're going to sit down and we're going to really learn it and really get into it.
okay, so when you say teach, okay, so here it is. You've been being invited to go to different places and teach, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
pretend I'm in the audience and I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing about you knowing astrology, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about Cosmo, the planet, the stars, the astrology, how it's connecting, the
Yeah,
zodiac signs, right?
right.
All I know is what my mom is teaching me about how to survive on Earth, right? So now
Right.
you up here, okay? You up on another dimension, vibration, and everything. How
Okay.
do how do you teach and explain what message? How do you talk to help somebody to understand to get to the level where you're at on that vibration of speaking about the planets and stars is what I'm saying when you had
Okay.
to go teaching.
Okay. So we got to start. I have a method. I call it the push method. You
Okay.
got to learn about the planets. You got to learn about the signs, and you got to learn about the houses.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to learn about the aspects. That's how I'm
Okay.
going to teach you. That's the beginning thing. And
And
there's
that's
a
what
lot
you.
of other things involved in that. And like I told you, the fact of standing inside your zodiac and understanding that's something that actually came to me in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
This background behind me with the planets came to me in a dream too,
Okay.
years ago.
Beautiful.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So so so
they
so
give me ways to well, I'll say spirit gives me ways to teach the information. But I also teach it on a basic level, like out of a book, like, like that kind of thing.
okay. So how old were you when you were going teaching people astrology when they asked you to come and teach? Because
I was in my early 20s.
okay,
Like
so in your
19, 20, 20. That's when I was in DC for 20 years. So all during that time I was also on I think you mentioned I was on BET. I
yes.
used to write BET's column,
Okay. For
astrology
astrology.
column every week.
Okay.
Yeah, before I
Okay.
moved here, and they used to send me my check. I write them the thing to send me my check. And
Okay.
and it
Beautiful.
was weird. And I was also on the radio. I used to be
Mhm.
on a radio show called LoveTalk and Slow Jams, where people would call in. It's really one of my favorite things to do. People would call in and give me each other's birth dates,
Mhm.
and I would be able to figure out if they were in a good relationship, if they could be in a good relationship, if it was going to work out. And
Meaning
so,
two couples. So two couples already in a relationship, and you were just
yeah,
gonna let them know if it's
people
gonna
would
work
call
out.
in. They were playing the slow jams, and then they would break out, and I would talk to people.
Uh huh.
Which was really a lot of fun. But I got so many. I had so many clients. I really couldn't handle them. I had like 300 people or more a day contacting me wanting to get their charts
Wow.
done, and I was like,
Wow.
I just had. That was back when you had like AOL and stuff. I just had charts, and a lot of people were just like, should me and so be together? And I'm like, I can't say that because I'm never going to say you shouldn't be with somebody because I don't know what lessons you need to learn. What I
Correct.
say is if they're not abusing you, yes. Okay,
Mhm.
that's how I
Mhm.
feel about it.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
they're abusing you, I don't care. Whatever.
That is true because
That's my only caveat.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I can see that because I truly believe everybody come into your life for a reason, for a
for a
season,
reason.
for a
For
lesson, right? Now, based on your chart, wherever you at in the planet, for you both to come together,
yeah,
it is what it is. Now, sometimes the people do connect before they supposed to actually come together,
right.
right? So sometimes you got to be cautious because it's like, we arrived here just a couple of years too soon, and that could
Well,
be a disaster.
it could be
Yes,
because the timing is off, and that happens.
correct,
But then you
correct.
also got people that meet and they're like, I've had okay. So from there, from the radio, I was also on Facebook, and I was basically an undercover astrologist. People didn't know who I was, and I was answering people's questions,
Oh,
and nobody
really?
saw my face. And I was even answering questions of people that I knew, and some of them I never told them that I was answering questions. It was a
Really?
group. I was called the Cosmic Astrologist. People
Okay.
would send me questions about relationships and other things, and so yeah, and so that was it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I
So,
would work with people's charts, and same thing. People would. I had so many clients. I was like, I can't do all this because it does take the energy, for
correct.
me to
Oh,
do it.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
And so because you were such a young person and you had the knowledge, but you also were spiritually guided as
yeah,
well, and
yes,
so that's why it makes it easy for you to come up with the information when people ask you questions. So,
yes,
like, for instance, when I was saying teaching, it's like, okay, well, what are you providing them so they can comprehend and understand? But as I'm listening to you, because you were giving advices and suggestions and stuff like that, you were spiritually guided on
yeah,
helping people to understand. So that
yes.
made it so much easier for you. Okay, I
Yes.
got it. I got it.
And that's the
Okay.
other thing. I mean, the planets are energy. So, and when
Yes.
they're in the signs and in a house, that's an energy.
Correct.
There's it's the 144, the 144 is the 12 times 12 times 10. Okay,
Mm,
so that's that whole thing they talk about and all that kind of stuff. Everybody talk about the 144,000. It's astrology, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So we
Mm-hmm.
can get into that too. We can go all the way back, you know, to Egypt, to
Mm-hmm.
Kemet,
Mm-hmm.
where if you go to Kemet today, the painting still looks like it still just got painted on
Correct.
that temple in Dendera. It looks like they just painted it, but it's over at this point. It's over 5,000 years old, and they already
Wow.
painted it over there. Yeah,
Is
and
now
then
is there a reason why it looked like it's just been painted and that all that
just
time has
the
been?
paint held up. I'm just saying,
Mm-hmm.
with the fact that it's there, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
even so anyway, they say, and I don't know. What I've heard is that all of that area, Egypt, India wasn't India because they named that when they came down that Indus River.
Mm-hmm.
The colonizer, whatever, came down that river, and they changed the name of everything to India. Just like over here, they call people Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all of that was Ethiopia. All the way across the Atlantic Ocean was Ethiopia.
Mm.
Most of, so you end up with and there you end up with the Vedic astrology, which
Mm-hmm.
they say is
Mm-hmm.
to 25,000 years old.
Mm. Yeah, I like
So
that. Yeah, I like Ayurveda. That's a lot of good information in there. Mm-hmm.
excellent, excellent, and actually the Vedas, the first Hindu books are the oldest philosophy that we know on this
Mm-hmm.
planet right now. And those books, there's six of them, and one of them is called Jyotish.
Joe Teach. Okay.
Jyotish. It's the science of light. It's about
Mm.
the planets. It's astrology.
Mm.
So this is like, so they're saying this is anywhere from 5,000 to 25,000 years ago.
Wow.
So
Uh,
yeah,
that's beautiful.
it is beautiful.
And that's truly what we need to really understand the beauty of the light, because
Yeah,
that's what we all are, just light.
we
You know what
all
I'm
are
saying?
light. We are
That's
light.
it. That's
Different
it.
energies of light.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
different
yes.
energies of light.
And learning how to bring our vibration up to increase that light is so important.
It
But
is.
with so much going on in the world, we find ourselves on that low vibration that takes away from that light, where we cannot produce much that we want to produce or be where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a low vibration.
Because
So
you're not here to be on video games. I tell you that much.
that
That's not
part,
where you came here.
or social media, spending all them time just
You
swiping,
can be on social
swiping.
media, but you're not on here to scroll. You're on social media too. If you can look up some social media. There's a lot of really great spiritual information and stuff like
It
that,
is.
or
It is.
artistic information, or even politics. But you can go on there and look at it, and then you need to get off of it.
That part.
You
Some
need to
at
get
some
off of it.
point,
You need to.
you got to pull yourself back so you can recognize who you are. You
Absolutely.
keep, yeah, you keep reading and listening to every single body. You forget to lose yourself.
That's it, because you have things you're supposed to be doing, and it has nothing to do with the programming that they're putting you through.
That part.
Nothing, nothing.
Yes.
You have things
Yes.
you're supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be doing astrology. I'm supposed to be painting, which is my other thing I do.
Okay.
So, I'm not supposed to be on social media just scrolling, and this one trying to sell me something, and that one trying to tell me, what happened in the administration today and all this kind of stuff. That's not for me.
Okay. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, and I'm with you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's so hard to do because everybody's
It
on
is,
thinking
because you
this and
want to know
something.
what's going on, and
Correct. Right.
every day people are calling you saying, "Did you hear this and that and the third?" And it's like, well, and that's another thing though that you would understand as an astrologist. You would
Mm-hmm.
understand the energy of what's going on in the world right now.
Correct.
Now, I don't know if you heard, but Pluto went into Aquarius. Pluto is the planet of for the first time in 200 some years. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
some people say we're in the age of Aquarius. We're not. We're
Okay.
getting there. We got a little more time, because when the age of Aquarius comes, then you will truly be my sister. I will
Mm.
not see any difference between you and I will not say, "Oh, I'm not going to give Charmaine a crust of bread because she got on a black hat today and I don't like it." You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You wouldn't
Mm.
be that. You wouldn't be stuck in your lower vibration.
Correct.
You know what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Correct.
You would say,
Absolutely.
"Charmaine is my sister. This lady over here is my sister. This Caucasian person is my sister. There's whoever else is my sister or my brother, and you would approach all human beings as such because we're all here to teach each other. And that's another thing I don't. So all this robots and all that stuff. We are meant to be together.
Correct.
We alchemize one another. Our
Mm-hmm.
planets interact with one another. We are
Mm-hmm.
here to teach one another.
Correct.
We are destined to be here.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Absolutely.
if you think of all the, like they say, I forget how many they talk about, how many sperm cells to get you here and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You're a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a
Absolutely.
miracle talking to another miracle.
And not even that, every single day we wake up, it is a miracle
It's a
because we
miracle.
do not have to be here.
That
Yes.
sun rises, and you don't get that.
Yes.
Come on,
Yes.
that's not a that's that sun rises, and you are breathing because spirit is breathing you. Your heart is beating. You're not beating it yourself.
We have no control. No control whatsoever. And but
So
see, but it's all about love and light. And just like
yes,
you were just saying, if we were in the Aquarius, you wouldn't be, being judgmental of your sister. You would be in love with your sister. So
always.
until we get to that love
And it's not easy.
vibration,
Yeah,
huh?
it's
What'd you
not
say?
easy,
Of course not.
because you can get to that point, and then somebody does something, or somebody step on your shoe or something like that, and you like, you don't like them anymore.
Your face is all changed up, right? Just like
Like,
that.
you're like, did she just step on my shoe? That kind of thing. It's like, but
That part.
in the greater scheme of things, she is a divine, or he is a divine being, and that's where we're missing with one another.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing somebody as, I get into this whole thing with the bag. Okay,
The
they
who?
got the bag. Everybody's looking for the bag, which is money.
Oh, the
And
bag. Okay.
now,
Yeah,
if you don't have this money, that money, that's not why you're meeting people for money. It's not.
I know.
God,
That's,
God is, you understand it, whatever divinity, whatever you call it, and there's many names. There's what I
mm-hmm.
forget. There's thousands of names for God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but God didn't put you down here, didn't have those millions of sperm cells and whatever else to get you here for you to be grabbing this man or this woman's bag. That's not why
Correct.
you here.
Correct. No,
That's
no,
not
you're
why
not.
you.
But that's called the American dream. That's the only thing we're focusing on is the American dream, and not really the essence of who you are and the purpose of why you here. And unfortunately, it's sad because of the society that we live on is require that cash, that bag for us to live happily and comfortably. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the part where
I just saw something today. Well, I'm not gonna get into that. Let me go back to astrology.
Okay, let's go
I'm gonna
back to
leave
the
that
show.
alone
Okay.
because
All right.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
get into the politics in a minute. Well, I was
okay,
telling
don't
you
do
about
that.
Pluto in Aquarius.
Okay, wait, wait,
Um,
wait. Wait. Okay, so you
okay,
talked
go ahead.
about that, but after, go ahead, finish that. Then I want to talk to you since because now we're approaching the new year, 2025. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you understand about the cosmos? What should we be looking out for? Stuff
Okay.
like that, if you don't
So
mind.
this whole thing with Pluto in Aquarius is a major shift. It hasn't happened in 200 years.
Okay,
Okay.
is that coming
So
soon?
it's here. It happened like a week or two ago.
Okay.
That Pluto went directly into Aquarius, and it won't come out for another 200 years. We won't even be on the planet when it comes out. Okay,
Mm,
we'll be gone. But Pluto is a planet of transformation, like life and death and reincarnation and all that different kind of stuff.
mm-hmm,
Okay, and Aquarius is sudden events.
mm,
It's the new. It's like they used to call it the new age. Aquarius
okay.
is the new age, and Aquarius is brotherly and sisterly love. So you
Mm.
are going to be forced to transform into that Aquarian age person, one
And
way or
that's,
another.
if I'm not mistaken, that's where we're headed to right now
This
with
is
so
it.
much chaos. Yeah, I
We're
can see
here.
that. I can
Yeah,
truly see that.
we're here, and so you either wake up and get with the program, or I don't know what the alternative is, but I'm saying it's time to get with the program. It's time to understand, you know, that you have to look out for everyone else, because truly we are one. You can't just look out for yourself,
Mm-mm,
you know.
mm-mm. No, you can't. And you know what? I have noticed maybe in a couple of maybe 2 years or three, maybe 2 years, we have noticed a shift in our reaching, elevating our dimension. We have rise from the third dimension, and now we're at maybe the fifth dimension based on our spirituality. Everybody's now into more meditation and stuff like that. But now, because of so much chaos is going on, that's where you're talking about the Aquarius part. It's like one or the other. It can pull you back down into that third dimension, or it can keep you elevated where we have to come together and be one as love, because now we on that spiritual vibration where we should not be worrying about or judging each other, but we will come together on a spiritual level.
Yes, yes.
With meditation and all the other stuff that people tapping into.
Absolutely. And you're gonna, it's gonna, you're gonna be forced. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yes.
You're gonna be forced to transform. That's all I'm gonna say about it. And it's now. It's not yet. You're gonna be forced to transform. You're gonna be forced to transform your way of thinking. The earth is gonna. You got to save the earth. You got to. Like I was talking to my brother today, and he said that Neil deGrasse Tyson said, "Why do you want to go to another planet? Why don't you fix the one you're on? What's wrong with that?" You got to spend all this money to fly people off to another planet for what?
You hear so many people leaving, the U.S. to go to another country. It's like, no, stay in the fight. Come on, don't leave your people. Yes.
Fix where you are. Everybody fix where you are, and everybody, make it a beautiful. This is a beautiful place.
Correct.
It's a beautiful planet. There's many, many beautiful people. Many beautiful experiences you can have with one another.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need to make it bad? You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot. It's a lot, and I understand, but that's a different other conversation. But okay, so real fast, I have one more other question, because I know that there's a lot of misconception about astrology. So what is the most common misconception about astrology that you encounter, and how do you address them?
Okay, that's of course, we know that's people who are religious and not spiritual or philosophical, who think that astrology is either bogus or it's against their religion and all that kind of thing. I'm gonna say two things. The sun has been in the sky since the sun was in the sky, before people wrote all these books. Okay, like I said, the Jyotish, the Vedic people 25,000 years ago, they already created all this, and it still holds true today. Okay, when the Magi, you know what a Magi is?
I heard of it. I don't. Refresh my memory and speak up a little louder, because your dog is trying to outbark you.
My guys, the Magi. I guess they're gonna be part of my show anyway. The Magi are astrologers, priests, and kings. Okay. Those pharaohs were Magi. Okay, so when you see them, and those people were Magi's. Okay, a Magi is somebody that can read the stars, and that's how they found Jesus. Okay? If you study that, and there is a whole study of astrology in the Bible, astrology in the Quran, all that different stuff, you will see that what was already written, and it's also allegory embedded in these books. But they've also told you, because Jertha Love used to say, that's what Jertha Love used to say, the largest astrology library in the world is within the Vatican. He used to say that. He said that on TV. He used to always say that. So they took this information, kind of turned it around on you, made you say, "Oh, you shouldn't study that." Because you need to know about yourself and your family and your friends. You need to know if me and Charmaine don't really get along when we talk, because our Mercuries, which rule communication, don't get along. Because I had a friend like that. And the astrologist, she said, "You guys could be sitting in the room having a great time, having a great conversation, and 2 seconds later you arguing." I said, "Yeah, that's us." He's like, "But you also have this, and this." And that's how you help people too, because your family, even your kids, your boss, everybody, you are in relationship with them. As soon as it's like my planets and your planets are now mixed. Do my planets and your planets get along? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. And I have a friend. She's no longer with us, but there was someone that she wanted to be partnered with, and they used to, they would come together. It seemed like it was going to work, and it was like this every time.
Really?
I just don't understand. We got this, we got that, we got the other, and I did their charts, and I was like, and I had that. I felt really, really bad about it, but you guys will never be together because it's going to always be this, and it was. For years.
Any particular reason why?
Their sons were not compatible,
and
it's hard. It's a difficult. There's a thing called a quincunx, and that's another aspect, and I have to. That's you don't need to.
Okay.
People that have that tend to, they're like no, So you're telling them so that's it can be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
More of a karmic relationship in that case. So the two people, yes, they need to meet, and like I said, they're going to alchemize one another, and they may adore one another or hate one another, but
correct. But it doesn't mean a relationship.
It doesn't. And that's the thing too.
And that's sometimes people have to understand. Yes. We so quick to say, man, we get along so good and we do so much together. Why not us just come together? But that was not the plan. The plan.
It's not the plan.
And most of the time you have people, they get together, they say, oh, she's the one, you marry the person, and then the marriage only lasts about a year because that wasn't the plan.
You know why it lasts 2 years?
Huh?
You know why they last 2 years?
Why?
Because in 2 years, you have a Mars return to your marriage date. Mars is what? The planet of war and fighting and all of that. So in 2 years, you figure out, do I really like this person? No. So now it comes back and it interacts with your Mars from before, because Mars changes. It works like that. Every 2 years, it comes back to where it was. Okay. Yeah. So now you're back with this person, and you're like, most of marriages end in the second or third year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But only marriage is cut down. Okay.
Well, relationships. I'm not just
okay.
Because everybody out there now, it's all kind of stuff going on. I can't keep up with it.
It is. I'm thinking, what? Yeah, it is. It's
I'm like, I can't do that many charts for y'all.
Listen, it's so bad. It's so bad. They are just eliminating marriage, relationships all together.
Which is okay, because that's kind of, in a way, it's kind of very Aquarian to not be attached.
Yes.
And that kind of thing.
Okay.
So in that vein, you'll get to meet more people. And so some of us that are older will be like, whoa. But really? I also know that, like someone told me, they said, when you get old, there's only some people going to want to be bothered with you when you get old. You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't found none, there's not going to be the 10 people you living with now.
So wait a minute. So because you mentioned about the Aquarius, because we're in the time of the Aquarius, this is also a time for detachment where people don't want to be in relationships. So maybe
friends.
So maybe is this the time now why you see so many people talking about different, I don't know, what is it?
Lifestyles, polyamory, and all that.
Is that the reason why it's being so big and being exposed now that everybody's talking about it?
This is the thing, because you're supposed to be friends first.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point of everything.
Yes.
So I say approach people as friends. If they're not your friend, you shouldn't really it's not going to work out, because you don't have a base.
Exactly. You got to build the foundation. You can't just jump in there.
And somebody's cute, somebody got the bag, all that. That's going to fade away.
Absolutely.
We know that.
So I get the part, have always been be friends first before you be anything else. But because of the time of the Aquarius the Aquarius is all about building relationship, but building relationship. Okay. Friendship. Not so much about marriage and stuff like that. It's about friendship right now.
If it is a marriage, it's a meeting of the minds and a meeting of the higher mind, like spiritual. We're supposed to be together.
Correct.
We have work to do.
Absolutely. To be honest, that's where it has always have been. But because we weren't taught on that level,
Mm-hmm.
That's why we haven't got that at such a younger age to
Yes.
now we're so old now it's like, oh, a light bulb click on, now we get it. It's about compatibility, business minded, but it's good, timing is
Yes.
everything, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's good to know. Something else you said, I wanted to ask you a question, but it'll come to me. Oh, okay, so right now you talked about the Aquarius. Now 2025 is coming. Anything highlighted that we should really focus on, or anything you would like to share for
I'm
the
just gonna I'm gonna
2025?
stay I'm gonna stay with the Aquarian. That people need to come to understand the Aquarian energy. Come to understand the energy of Pluto, and then
Okay.
try to in your mind integrate that, and then find out where that is in your chart or your partner chart. Where is
Can,
that showing up?
okay, so what you just said sound Greek. Can you elaborate a little bit more to help me?
I just want you. So if I was going to tell people, I would say study Pluto. Look up what Pluto means, and you can go to any of the astrology things. Look up what Aquarius means, and try
Hmm.
to understand the two of them together. Try to
Okay.
integrate the two of them, and then get your chart and find out where that's affecting you.
Okay.
Okay.
You
Oh,
you
you
know.
been talking.
Okay. So, but I mean, like, is there any, like, for instance, what is your zodiac sign?
I'm a Capricorn with a
Okay. So
Capricorn stellium. I have 4 planets in Capricorn.
okay. So let's say you speak it to somebody like yourself, and you're talking about the Aquarius, and you're talking about Pluto. Can you give just a little bit example, because you just went over my head, about, okay, what you
Okay.
just said.
So the first issue is the most important part is where that is in your chart.
Hmm.
Remember, I talked about your chart. So your chart is
Correct.
your picture. So Pluto, where is Pluto Aquarius in your chart?
No, I don't know. So I'm
I know
asking
you
you.
don't, but I'm saying that's what I want people to figure out because that's the important thing because it's going to be in Aquarius for I'm sorry, it's going to be moving through Aquarius for I forget how many years. It's like 20 years or something like that. So this next period of time, you need to understand what's going on. So if it's in your first house, it's going to affect you personally. Your second house is going to affect your money. Your third house is going to affect your neighborhood, your siblings, all that kind of stuff. Your fourth house is going to affect your home. Your fifth house is going to affect your children and your
Hmm.
creativity. Your
Hmm.
sixth house is going to affect your work, your health. Your seventh house is going to affect your relationships.
Hmm.
And your eighth house is going to affect your spirituality, your your metaphysical side. The ninth house is going to change your philosophy about life. Your 10th house,
Hmm.
you're going to come into different types of jobs that maybe you never even thought of, that
Hmm.
kind of thing. You're going to be they call it also avant-garde, so it's going to be something that you maybe never even thought of that's going to
Okay.
happen in your house. Your 11th
Okay.
house is your friends. So it's going to affect the people that are around you or not
Hmm.
around you because Pluto can
Hmm.
take stuff away from you too. And then
Hmm.
your 12th house is it's going to be where you're going to have a deep spiritual transformation. I can tell you that. Maybe the 8th house too. You're going to have a deep spiritual transformation before it's all
Okay.
over.
Okay. All right. And so now that, because you went through the 1 to 12 houses,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm hearing from you is that all the categories that you just explained, or just kind of just went through, every individual is going to be impacted by 1
Different.
to 12 houses based on their
Your
chart,
birth chart.
their birth chart. So
Yes.
no matter, and so that's why you say it's important to know, where to get the understanding of the Pluto and the Aquarius, to
Pluto and
understand
Aquarius, where it is in your chart.
where it
Then,
is. Okay.
then the second thing is when you're probably going to need to call me or some other astrologist
Mhm.
because you're not going to understand how it's affecting the other planets in your chart and the other houses. That's where you get into the depth of it. So we already had, so it's in, like I said, it's in my 8th house. It's not aspecting anything in any of my other houses right now. So I'm
Okay.
good.
So
I'm
so
good.
so so what does that mean for you, that is in your eighth house? What is your main
Eighth,
focus right
eighth
now?
house. Eighth house is it's
Is
your like
career?
your spiritual side. No, no, no. 10th house is
Okay.
your career. Eighth house is your spirituality, your
Okay.
sharing with other people, death, birth, death, rebirth. They
Okay.
say taxes,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
So that's for you right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I have to do some research to find out where I'm at right now
You
for
know
December
we're
the
talking
10th.
about. You
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
call me?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I will say I'm going through a serious transformation from 54 going into 55.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
5 is already a number for me. And sometimes, this particular year, I really didn't plan on anything to really celebrate my birthday. I just let it unfold. I
Mm-hmm.
did beginning of the year up to maybe about last month. I wanted to have a birthday celebration, but
Mm-hmm.
my spirit and everything was just changing. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, it doesn't look like what I want is going to happen. So I just stepped back and just let whatever happen happens. But I
Mm-hmm.
just noticed that it was just a big spiritual change that was taking place.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having a conversation with a gentleman when talk about birthdays, because when a child is born, right? The child
Mm-hmm.
don't know anything, right? Don't even have a number, right? Number zero. We learning, we just on earth. But
Right.
when that child turns 1, what is the first thing that child learns to do?
Walk.
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 When that child turns 2, what have that child developed to do?
To talk.
Yes, when a child turns 3, what does that child develop to do?
Like think about things. I don't know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Comprehension. I can
Mm-hmm.
understand. So I
Mm-hmm.
realize every year we are learning something, but the key is, what is it that you're learning? We get so caught up with the celebration and the birthday, we overlook what does it truly mean. So for
Yeah.
me coming into 55, it
Yeah.
was a truly transformation, and I'm still trying to put the pieces together, like what all this mean, but I know that there is something unfolding
There
even
is,
this
there
day.
is, because there's like I told you, there's time periods,
Hmm.
and the other thing is you're coming upon your in 3 years you're gonna have your second Saturn return. So you want to look that up too and make sure that you already are over your first one,
Hmm.
and that's gonna make your second one a lot easier. That's what I
Okay,
say.
okay. And you did mention about, the seventh. You mentioned about the seventh
Seven,
cycle.
seven
Yes, the
cycles.
14th. The 14th. You mentioned about the 14th, and you mentioned about
7,
the 20.
14, 21, and 28. So you're about to come up on a 28. That's what I'm talking about, your Saturn return.
Yes, and it's funny because I was writing. I'm pretty much every 7 year there's a transition that takes place in my life.
Absolutely.
So my from 7 year old, there was a big transition from 0 to 7 took place. Then I became a teen mom from 7 to 13. I had the baby at 14. And then, yeah, so many things have happened, and I know
Right.
I'm coming up to the next 7th year.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah. There's seventh year. There's other ones too. So we could talk about that sometime too.
Okay, okay. I never looked at the 14th or the 28th. I just kind of just stuck on the 7th.
You will remember them though if we talk
Oh,
about
I already know them. Listen. I've been writing them down. I know, because I'm
Okay.
almost getting close to my seventh,
Interesting.
another seven cycle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
for me right now, I have to really pay attention. What is these 7 years is trying to teach me, so I can get to that 7th year, because I
Right.
know it's going to be a serious transformation, and a
Yeah.
transformation has to do with the process from 0 to that 7 again, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm understanding. So what about for you? Are you 7, 14, or does it vary for you?
Right now I'm in a I ended that Saturn return. I don't want to get into all of that, but
Okay,
I am moving into another period. I have I think one more year and then I'll be in another 7 period.
okay, okay.
And
All right.
yeah,
Well,
we can
that's
talk about that.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Another time. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I know time is the essence, and I know you got to get back to your doggies, because your doggies seem like they want
they
to.
they usually sleep right now. That's the
Okay.
thing. But
Okay.
they all excited. So
But
they,
next time we're gonna pick a time where at least they resting, and we won't
yeah,
bother
yeah.
them.
They usually I feed them when the sun goes down, and then I let them relax, and then they go to sleep, and they sleep all night, so they don't bother.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
but they
Okay. So.
but they
Go ahead.
see the lights on and stuff. They hear stuff. They like, what's going on out
Yeah,
there?
what's going on? Like, look, this is too much activity. She normally
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
in bed.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
well, one last question.
yeah,
Because we broke down a lot of information today, what is
yeah.
one thing that you would love to leave with the audience for them to truly understand the science and the wisdom of astrology? In a short version, what would you recommend us to look at astrology in a different perspective, in a different way, to help us to navigate through life a little better?
I would say to learn the basics, because you can learn the basics in a couple of them. I would say really a year, but really take time and learn it. Don't. It's not a. People make a joke out of it. It's not a joke. Really, if you really take time and learn it, you're gonna be like. I really want the young people, especially. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I want everybody, but the younger people too, learn it, because it will really, you'll understand your life a lot better. You'll understand the people you're interacting with a lot better. You know, it's a great tool if you use it. And I would say, for me and for most people, keep a journal, because you can
Mm-hmm.
keep a journal like that Mars thing I started talking about in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was coming, but I was like, I didn't see it coming. That's what I'm saying. I knew it was coming, but I couldn't stop it. It was
It,
like, oh my God. And then
it had to
I
take
got to running.
place.
People were like, I got in a fight with my husband. I got in a fight with my boyfriend. I got in a fight with, I'm like, oh my God, are you guys serious? And then I'm just hearing, and it's like, all these different fights. And I'm just like, okay.
Well,
I'm like,
well, at
we're
least,
going to be all
yeah,
right.
at least the beautiful thing you share with us that we have until February the 24th. So it's not a long
Mars. I
journey.
think though that once Mercury goes direct, which is Monday from
Mm-hmm.
now, the
Mm-hmm.
15th of December, and then that week after, things are going to lighten up. But
Okay,
I
good.
think the
Okay, so we're not
Mercury
gonna
and the
go all the way
Mars
to
together
February.
was too much. That's what I'm going to
Okay.
say. Too
Okay.
much.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Robin, for
Thank
all
you
your
for
wisdom and
having
yeah,
me.
you're welcome. Thank you for all your wisdom and knowledge. And again, I'm gonna have to come back because I mean,
Absolutely.
I know you can unload a lot, and I mean, some
I
things you were
could.
saying, I was getting, like, huh? You went
I
over
know
my
your head
head.
is like,
It was like,
woo.
wait a minute. If it's over my head, what about those who's listening, who's not
Yeah.
into astrology like you, and for you to be 11 years old to study, to understand, and to comprehend? Man, I take my hat off to you, and so
Thank
just
you.
continue doing
it
what you
was
know.
it was my it was my destiny. It wasn't, I didn't do anything. I was meant
Correct.
to be there. Just like
Well, guess what?
I was meant to meet those people.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
And you was
and,
obedient. You were obedient. You didn't resist.
yeah,
You embraced it. You know what I'm saying? And
yes.
and
I was
and
meant to
that's
meet them, and it was my path. You know.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that
So here
part.
I am.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you, and then I'm just to close out, and I
Yes.
just wanted to thank everyone for joining and listening to us every Thursday.
We
We will
thank the
bring
darkness.
content to touch the minds, the hearts, the spirits, and soul. Where not just one grow, but where we all grow for humanity. So please hit the like button down below. Subscribe, leave a comment, and then once we all done, Robin, I will get information about your website where they can find you to have classes with your upcoming classes and where you're going to be
Okay.
at in the future. Okay.
Okay.
So with that being said, we have to book another show, so I will reach out to you soon. But
Okay.
in the meantime, have a wonderful evening. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
God
you.
bless. You welcome, darling, and we'll talk soon.
Yes.
All right, babe.
Absolutely.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.